Nearly 6,000 miles away and an ocean apart, trained and ready U.S. troops began fighting in North Africa.
And at that time, they had the landing in Africa. So anybody that could pull the trigger was transferred down there.
The North African campaign was crucial for the Allies to win. A victory would mean an opportunity to open up a new front into Europe, easing German pressure on the Eastern Front. The Axis powers wanted to deprive the Allies of access to Middle Eastern oil supplies. Fighting was intense and brutal in Libya and in Egypt, as Allied and Axis forces pushed each other back and forth across the desert. The campaign reached a turning point in the Second Battle of El Alamein in late 1942, when British forces pushed Axis forces all the way from Egypt to Tunisia. In November, Operation Torch brought in thousands of British and American forces joining the attack, eventually leading to a German and Italian surrender in May of 1943. Meanwhile, a European invasion seemed out of reach for Allied forces, as most of Europe was occupied by Axis forces. The formation of the Atlantic Wall, a system of coastal concrete bunkers, walls, minefields, barbed wire fences, and artillery emplacements built by the Germans along Europe's western coast and Scandinavia, was constructed as a defense against an anticipated Allied invasion. The Atlantic Wall protected more than 3,000 miles of coastline in Europe, but there was no stopping Allied troops. Freshly trained American soldiers remember amphibious training for months on end for some sort of European invasion.
We shipped out to England, and there we did amphibious training for about 6 months. Security was very, very tight then, and they never told us anything. They just said, go out in the English Channel, do the amphibious exercise, and then come back. Every time we went out, for all we knew, we could be going into the actual invasion. We'd go out into the English Channel in a convoy. There'd be warships, troop ships, and everything. And we would come in and land, make a practice landing at a place in southern England called Slapton Sand. And we would land, make our go inland and maneuver inland for 2 or 3 days, and then we would go back to camp. In about 2 weeks or 10 days, we do it all over again.
So the LSC was in England. There was a crew of 24. They took all those off, and they put a different crew on there. And from there on, here and there, found out later there was something going on. Our ship took some intelligent doctors, about 40 of them, on our ship. Again, we didn't know what was going on.
American soldiers, often called GIs, knew something was coming, something big.
But after the ship was sealed, nobody was able to get on. Then found out that something was going on, that the way I think they told us that it could be some type of invasion, but didn't know where.
We never did know, because we always took out our regular load of equipment, live ammunition, and everything was. Our vehicles had all been waterproof, and we went every time. We could have gone over into France anytime. We knew that we must have something to do with the invasion coming up. The invasion was not a secret, but the Germans had agents in England too. We had agents over on the continent, But they had agents in England. They were watching for any signs. They wanted to know when and where we would land, so they could be there to meet us.